Good evening. It's Thursday, November 3rd, 2022. Welcome back to BoomerRexTonight, your nearly daily source for news and politics. I'm RisenLadyHeathen. Hey, asshole. What's up, Raise Our Show from other Millennial news podcasts.
That we haven't given up on humans doing big things. That we're not either going to snark ourselves right until the apocalypse comes or whatever. I think we should talk to Russia about disarming nukes one at a time into space, since it's the loudest noise humans can make. And if we really want to see if there's aliens, let's start banging a drum.
Yeah.
Because listening, I hold with the kids that say listening will not find you aliens. Right? That you'll get more right? As we know from our experience with technology, you get more efficient, lower voltages, right? You start doing encrypted and various other things, and that's it. We'll never pick you up from background noise, especially not at these distances.
You start putting it in optical fibers, there is
exactly.
EM radiation.
We have a boomer, and not just any boomer. We have Mr. BoomerRex himself.
Yeah, good evening, y'allsies.
You two eat, sleep, and breathe politics, and I'm still learning that three unique perspectives we share, along with the facts from our literal round table. You bring up a bunch of very interesting points. That was very good. I liked it.
Well, it's one of the things that Russia doesn't have a lot of strengths. One of the things you can really play to with Russians is there is a metric fuck ton of them.
Fair.
There are 3 times as many Russians on planet Earth as there are British people total.
Fair. Okay. So we're taking a break from the wonderfully funny antics of Ginger in the Eye of Argon. Tomorrow, at the end of the week, which is tomorrow, I don't know why anyway, with the end of, we'll finish the story. Okay, so tomorrow will be our last Eye of Argon. I have the results of my very first personal investigation. I did the whole behind the scenes reporting, so it's going to be very exciting tonight. We will reveal that later. So for now, let's just dig right into our headlines. Dreaming. Who's dreaming? Why are they dreaming? What's going on?
So, if you ever watched a dog nap,
yes,
right?
Oh, yes, regularly.
Yeah, you probably wondered if they dream.
Oh, I know they do dream.
Yep. We know primates dream. We recently found out that spiders may have a REM-like sleep. So we kind of covered the... But domestic cats were some of the first animals that were subjected to dream research.
Mm-hmm.
And the researcher just, our emotion is suppressed when we're dreaming, right? So we don't act it out. And he discovered that there's a very specific part of the cat's brain that restricts the movement. It's called the pons. And so by removing the pons, he saw cats went into the REM state, and then they began to move as if they were awake. They hunted, they jumped, they groomed, they defended themselves against invisible threats, etc., etc., etc. So anyway, we now know that cats do. We know that finches do. They were the first non-mammalian species. They practice their music in their dreams, and they alter their music consciously, well, unconsciously. What does one say?
Like dolphins and whales?
Yeah, that it changes over time.
Yeah.
They change it to incorporate more recent learning or whatever. And zebrafish sleep. So, anyway. And have a REM-like state, etc., etc., etc.
Okay, so we're just finding more and more animals actually do dream.
Yeah, must be useful, huh?
Yeah.
Way to go back over the day and say, what the fuck can I learn from this?
Fair. All right. How to destroy the world's economy with Putin.
So, it turns out that the International Atomic Energy Agency has finished their inspection of 3 sites in Ukraine, and Russia's delusional nonsense about dirty bombs is just that. Russia's delusional nonsense, except it's not delusional. The fucking Russians are just lying, just like always. Comes out of Putin's mouth, it's a lie.
Yeah.
So, anyway, let's see what else is going on. Oh, yeah. As the war between Russia and Ukraine drags in the fall and winter, the economic repercussions for Russia and the world are becoming more evident. Russia can continue its deepening contraction. So anyway, we need to find a way to make that really deep. And then we need to find a way to make it permanent.
Fair. Sounds good to me.
Recall that Sergei Lavrov insisted no one could stop the Russian economy. Again, is a Russian's mouth moving? He's fucking lying.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't really gone out of our way to hurt him yet.
We've gone out of our way not to.
I think we should hurt the Russians as badly as it's possible to hurt them.
Yep. No, we should start winding the clock back. If they want to go back to this Cold War shit, they can. But that means no more Russians coming over.
Yep.
And that's tragic for the young, rich Russians who can escape.
Yeah.
But maybe their future, maybe just once, the rulers of a country's futures might maybe be tied to that of the poors of that country.
Yeah.
Well, and if we can take out their productive class, all they're left with are the angry poor folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
who, at least in Russia, have a history of getting it the fuck done.
yep.
True.
Or a more recent history, let me say.
So anyway, as Russia continues its attacks across Ukraine, they've managed to disconnect the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant from the power lines again. So,
Weren't they told to put it back?
no, they've put it back several times. They keep wrecking it.
Why? To what purpose?
My guess is that their artillery is so inaccurate that they can't keep from doing it. So, anyway.
Fucking idiots.
So now they're running on diesel generators. That's fine. They have 6 reactors in shutdown, but not yet cold shutdown. So the generators are needed to run the cooling systems. And they've got 15 days of diesel. So we'll see how it goes. Way to
How
go,
long does
fucking
it take
Russians.
to shut those down?
They had several of them down long time ago. And then when the Russians started fucking with the electrical supply, they shut the other 2 down.
The problem is it provides a fair amount of Ukraine's power. And the problem with nuke plants is you can't turn them up or down really quickly. They
Right.
really want to stay at fucking background levels.
Right.
So,
No, I get stopping the reaction once it's started is fucking not good, which is why I wasn't sure how long it takes to actually get to the full cold shutdown stage.
More than 15 days.
Wonderful.
but that also means you're into the, they're going to try and avoid putting any of them they don't have to. Because turning them back on, I'm guessing, is also a pain in the ass.
Would they have to put in all new rods and stuff? They can't reuse the
No,
ones
no,
that
no.
they've shut
They
down?
can use the ones that are in there.
Oh, okay.
On a power reactor, when you shut it down, the decay in the fuel rods produces isotopes that poison the reactor. And so you have to wait for those to decay before you can restart the reactor. So shutting them down is, you can get the power level down really quick, except for the radioactive decay.
Right.
Which still needs coolant, but not like it's running wide open.
Right.
But then there's a period during which you cannot restart.
Right.
So, anyhow.
Ugh.
So, if we were putting numbers on when Russia's likely to do something really gross, look for the period where they absolutely can't turn the power back on.
That's fair.
So on Thursday, Moscow summoned the British ambassador over its allegations that Britain was involved in planning a Ukrainian drone attack on the Crimea port city of Sevastopol and their Black Sea fleet.
Here's what we ought to do. We ought to call the Russian in and show him the video. Actually, we'll just do it at the UN because I don't think we should invite Russians to nice buildings. And show him what it's like when the SAS does a thing, or and we can just show him all of the European countries. Like, you know how I know it wasn't whatever the fancy German mountain troops is, because this is what it's like when they did your thing here.
Yeah.
Assholes.
Yeah. Well, I kind of privately hope the British did help.
Yeah, but I can.
And if you want to know who's doing it for the Russians, go look at Bellingcat.
Yep.
Because Bellingcat has a whole list of Russians who are into planning the targeting for the Iranian missiles. So,
No, I'm quite mad. I think it's time we drive a carrier battle group into the Black Sea and just see what happens. What's Russia gonna do? Really?
shit themselves
Yeah.
is the first thing they're going to do.
All right. Are we ready to move on?
Oh, sure.
Okay, let's move on to just fuck 'em. We got a bunch of stuff under here tonight.
God, I want to know how you can have looked at Trump for 4 years and the way he acts and the things he says and his inability to tell the truth and invest in something he's involved in. So, turns out, remember all the Trump supporters who invested a bunch of money in the Digital World Acquisition Corp, which was supposed to take over Truth Social and so forth and so on?
Yep.
Okay.
Because I actually have an answer when you're done.
Because it was supposed to deban a couple of months ago. And so they had a meeting and they extended that deadline till November the 22nd. But they have not gotten anything like the 65% agreement they needed from their shareholders. So they will most likely have to deband on November 22nd, and they will reimburse their investors at a rate of $10 per share. Many of them paid $90.
Yeah, no, never mind. My theory doesn't work with the investor class shitheads. Yeah, actually it does.
A lot of these are just Trumpistas that put their money down.
And so fine. Those ones I think you can absolutely explain by humans don't do the best math on when it comes to, right? If humans did, they would be going to college for different things.
Yes, true. Okay.
Right. They'd be looking at it and maximizing their earning potential and a bunch of other soulless shit that, right, good humans don't do. Which I think is the other side of it. Anyone who isn't, right, getting paid by the hour there, they're the ones who know Americans don't do that, and they were banking on the Trumpies going all in on this, because, yeah.
Yeah, it seems to me I saw some rumors about insider trading and so forth that would suggest there might be some good lawsuits here. So, anyway.
No, but, right, one of the best troops I ever met in the Army was a kid whose entire life goal was a double wide and two 15-year-olds. Like, and I'm sure he got that model somewhere, and fuck me. God, there's some parts of the South we should have let secede. But...
and built a wall.
Something. But again, if they're on your team, they're on your team, and Americans do team like nobody.
Yeah. No, that wouldn't keep you from looking after it.
Yeah, well, and if you're entirely self-centered and incapable of getting information from other people's experiences, I can totally understand it. Right? Because, yes, by looking at that math, there's not shit all Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, or fucking... Brain, yeah, no, stop giggling, the one who doesn't know where he is. Biden. Right? There's not anything they're going to do for anyone who works by the hour.
Yep. Well, and interestingly enough, that's the subject of our next comment here.
See? Damn, I'm good.
Is just screw the working folks.
Hey.
Right, we're fighting to get inflation under control. The chief economist at the Global Investment Bank, UBS, which is the world's largest wealth manager, argued in an op-ed for Financial Times that inflation in the United States is, quote, more a product of profit than wages.
I've got a plan.
Meanwhile, Powell just keeps raising the interest rate because he knows eventually that'll kill the job market, which will put people out of work, which will mean they'll buy less, and inflation might
because we spent a
go
generation
down.
at the zero lower bound, and there was nothing more important from macroeconomics, from their point of view, than getting the fuck away from that. Because that is that shows the absolute limit of state banks. Right, that there's nothing more they can do when they hit that. So,
Well, they're way above that
oh
now.
yeah, no, it's a
Okay.
yeah, but this is where you see that the American economy is divested from the American worker.
Yeah. So anyway, he goes on to say Powell's public remarks offer little insight into how he expects higher rates to tame inflation. So what we need is an excess profits tax.
That too.
A heavy one.
Yes. And I think in conjunction with that, we should task the 3rd Infantry Division with fighting inflation. And we'll just see which happens and which solves first.
Yeah. Of course, I'm just sitting here going, huh. What do we think the Republicans are going to do if they get their red wave? Oh, I'm sure they're going to, yeah.
If you work for a living, you're already one step closer to abandoning fucking capitalism and economics as a concept. So no, I'm not surprised their base isn't particularly interested in what they're going to do to fix a financial system that, as far as they can tell, and anyone who's accurately been watching, its whole job is to keep people poor.
All right, so Stuart Rhodes is alleged to have written a letter to Trump saying, President Trump, you can save the republic by doing your duty as commander-in-chief. Use the Insurrection Act. You must do as Lincoln did. He arrested congressmen and state legislators and issued a warrant for the Supreme Court Chief Justice. Take command like Washington would. Go down in history as the savior of the republic, not the man who surrendered it. Then warned Trump that should he fail to act, Joe Biden and his administration would turn all that power on you, your family, and all of us. Yep, that's what happened. Because you were armed insurrectionists. And the fact that you're on trial for things that'll put you in jail for 4 or 5 years.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a travesty of justice.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm less impressed that we caught angry dudes with beards. The world is a motherfucking wash in angry dudes with beards.
Yep.
We might want to catch one of those populist assholes who went to, Yale and Harvard.
Oh, I'm all in for that.
Bastions of
But I want to
populist
point
thought.
out to the populist dudes with beards
Mhm.
that they got played like a fiddle. So,
That's
what
the
the hey?
history of the world.
Yep.
Right, you can say the same thing at every of the cute faces everywhere.
So, Trump filed suit against New York Attorney General Letitia James.
Yep.
Yep. But that was after an intervention by his lawyers. Again, this was a legal team desperately trying to tell the former president that his primal scream of a lawsuit was ill-advised. They tried to tell the Florida lawyers that filing a frivolous lawsuit would not only fail, but it could result in legal malpractice.
If you're
Florida
lucky.
has laws against so-called frivolous lawsuits. That could mean that if Trump files one, he could be subjected to paying for the other side's attorney's fees. So,
And makes you subject to fucking discovery,
yeah.
which is one of the things Trump cannot stand.
So, I love it.
We'll see. On the other hand, are we talking about the FBI's new brilliant idea?
Oh, yes.
They think we are.
No, we're not. Go
Now,
ahead.
the FBI thinks maybe it's time to appoint a special prosecutor who can run out the clock.
Just another way to run away.
Yep. Well, hey, it's really hard for the FBI. The Republicans will absolutely let them be death squads and internal intelligence. And the Democrats aren't going to be nice to them and let them do whatever the fuck they want. Look at all the fun Bortak had. They got to disappear hippies.
Yep. So next up, about damn time.
Oh, you already went through the intervention thing?
Mhm.
Sorry, I just found out that OAN apparently has gotten rid of their little, paragraph that they would put in their news stories, and now it's just videos, and this was just very upsetting for me to find out that I might now actually have to listen to these assholes try to lie to me to my face instead of just reading their lies.
Yeah. No, all those filthy words are getting
And
in
it's
the
a
way.
10-minute video, and it's just,
Yep.
I was just, sorry. I
The thing you
apologize.
have to understand
I'm
that only 15% of their listening audience can read. So,
Cute. No, this is the weird opposite world reflection of how in China the insurgents and whatever use images because Microsoft's great firewall of China or Google's whoever's whichever American company is helping oppress the Chinese people this week. This is the same thing. If there's a blurb that describes what's in that video, that shit can get captured by the Wayback Machine. What's the Wayback Machine gonna see when you point it at a thing that's just video? Right, an image you can't click on because it wasn't stored. They're
Yep.
Anyway, so Boomer Rex is about damn time. Sorry about that.
So, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy is pressuring the U.S. Chamber of Commerce to oust Suzanne Clark, the organization's president and CEO. His direct conversations make clear that he will not work with Clark and her leadership team if Republicans win control and he becomes House Speaker. Yeah, right. You just keep pushing your base away there, buddy. That's fine. Chairman of the board, Mark Orden, has said he has no plans to remove Clark. U.S. Chamber of Commerce team serves a vital role in the daily defense of American business. We serve our members, not a political party, which is not what I would have expected the Better Business Bureau to say. So,
No, we're talking Chamber of Commerce.
Chamber
or
of Commerce.
Fine. Yeah,
So,
they're scumbags. Let us never forget.
What's going on? Like, I don't understand what any of this. Like, what's
these
going
are
on?
huge Republican contributors, have always been nearly exclusively contributors to Republican causes, and they have stopped contributing. So
We'll see.
Oh, so this is just another one of those companies or
This is the
corporations
crazy
that-
consolidating power. They're
This
driving out the people who can
Right.
accurately find out what's going on. Because the problem they have right now is the money kids are not into this big lie bullshit and any other thing that isn't provably profitable. And lies, while profitable if you're selling them to the stupid, are not a profitable way to run any sort of business venture. So they're trying to drive out the people who will say no to them. No, I'm not going to give money to crazy people who advocate death to pick a person.
yeah,
So, I think they'll win. I don't, because there goddamn better not be room on the left for the motherfucking Chamber of Commerce. If that's the kind of thing, if I was the AFL-CIO, I'd be tempted to say we would not be friends anymore. Right, that tomorrow I would come out hardline Republican because better to bring the system down today than a week from now.
Right. All right, so we're going to save dumbass of the day for the end, because again, this is part of my investigation. Okay, MTG's smokescreen of the day. What's stupid yelling about now?
So, MTG, with her empty little face and her floppy little arms, is outraged that anyone would even question the latest right-wing conspiracy theory about House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband having a secret gay lover who tried to kill him. That's one dumb bitch. It really is.
This was some random dude from Canada. Like,
Yeah.
God damn,
Enjoy your lifetime ban from the United States, buddy.
No, here's my thing. Part of the reason why I went on OAN while you guys were talking was because I wanted to see what they were saying about this Pelosi attack, because the right wing has been aggressively pushing this, and we know this. And that's when I discovered that I would have to watch several 10-minute videos just to get a general idea of what sort of bullshit they were saying, which offends me more than the bullshit they're saying. But, it is what it is. But, no, I mean, so basically, this is the most insane thing ever, because they're literally just flat out lying, and there's no evidence for anything they're saying.
Yeah.
And they're saying he was in his underwear. They're saying
Which doesn't seem to
and
bother
nobody-
their illiterate base at all.
Well, the fact that their base is illiterate is part of the problem, and the fact that they want to continue to keep these people illiterate and stupid,
Yes,
and they don't want them to have information.
That's the Trumpista war on education.
And that's exactly what
It started in
they're
2016. We'd never seen it before that.
Right.
doing. But they've been doing it for a long time. We know this. And it's been getting worse and worse.
Yeah, that's why pretending it's the Trumpistas is a fucking mistake, and why it's going to be fun to watch everything so many people hold dear burn to ash.
All right,
in
hold
their
my
face.
feet to the fire, because you're right.
Yeah. No,
It didn't
there's
start
no
with
one
Trump.
we get.
Trump just solidified it.
Failing that, look at it this way. There's enough money on their side, I would go and run a virus program for them. And yeah, they'll think they're getting something, but they're going to get whatever the ghost of my cat, I think everyone needs.
Yeah.
But on top of this, Pelosi, Paul Pelosi, like, victim blaming bullshit, which is all this is. This is, some victim
They need to
blaming.
buy space. They know they're not going to be able to play it's too soon, don't politicize the school shooting. No, I mean this house hammering. Trump's pushing the gay weirdness thing. Which is why I like that bit from Seth Meyer where he's just going to start spreading unfounded rumors about Trump.
Yeah.
And hell yeah, no, do it. Just
Yes.
make sure you like specifically label it out and do all the things legal tells you to do so you can't get sued.
Yeah.
Well, and again, I'm sure that they have a team
Right.
of lawyers
Yes.
to go through, and make sure that nothing inappropriate's going on there. So anyway,
Yeah.
and we do know that John Oliver is actually the king at doing that. So some guy tried to tie
Pity
him up.
about it's only for us three watching him, but yeah.
But anyway, the other thing that the right wingers and the Fox Newsies are concerned about right now is some universities have started to bring cats into the universities so that kids can go and like pet the cats while they
cool.
and it lowers stress and 9.5 other things. It's just it's just a good thing and whatever.
Fuck them, never mind. You're right. They do deserve it. Enjoy your fascism, dipshits. Maybe you can pet your cat out of it. Like you're way out of this by petting a cat. I got nothing.
So anyway, the Fox Newsies are all a bunch of snowflakes and they don't
They're
need
not
cats.
fucking
They
wrong.
need to be slapped and blah blah blah. Like
Colleges are currently running more remedial courses than they ever have previously. The failure to educate American children is costing us more and more annually. And, big shock, it's why when they suddenly realized that capitalism isn't going to work for them because they weren't born rich, like the 66% of the 1%, yeah, they're going to turn to fascism and they're going to bring it all the fuck down. We think it's bad now when they're pouring soup on artwork. I mean, look, I'm the one who thinks they're bitches and should use self-forging rounds. Do permanent damage to fucking human heritage, right? Make there be a cost. But, again, we disagree in tactics. Do not attack heritage things, the internet. Or at least don't blame me for it.
I don't see anything wrong with having some cats at the university. Really, really don't.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's not like the school was educating them, so the best it can do is be a petting zoo. I'm perfectly fine as awesome. The schools that are training the people who are going to be in charge of you don't do that.
All right, let's move on to updates with BoomerRex health threats.
So, life expectancy of Americans has dropped for 2 consecutive years. The first year it was attributable to COVID-19 and was consistent with other countries. The second year wasn't.
It's real bad.
And so it brings us back to the fact that we spend $4 trillion a year, or $12,500 per person, on healthcare, and get less than many third world countries.
We get healthcare on par with
half.
Turkey.
Yeah.
Who here would go to Who within the sound of my voice would go to Turkey to get medical care? I would literally rather go to Mexico.
And for some stuff, you'd get better care.
Oh yeah, almost everywhere.
So the question is, what the hell? Well, one of the big things is that health professionals are leaving the profession at very high rates. And one of the principal reasons for them doing that is health insurance. They're tired of prior authorization. The health insurers are increasingly controlling the delivery of patient care, usurping the authority of physicians. So it forces them to waste time and resources fighting for their patients, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They just had enough.
Yep.
Healthcare's been broken in America for 15 years at least. So anyway, this is what you wanted, America. This is what you're getting. You might want to try electing some folks who want to talk about national health care.
Yes, because
I'm not going to do that this time.
the whole start of insurance in the first place was all just a bid for money. It had nothing to do with helping people. It was literally just a grift at the time, and it turned into a grift that we now all spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on. So insurance, health insurance in general is a scam. It's always been a scam. It was a scam from the beginning.
Yep.
And so
It didn't have to be, but
no,
it
it didn't have to be.
So let's start there, right? Because a lot of the times I hear that I bag on capitalists, and that offends some folks. So from the reddest communist to the greenest capitalist to the brownest fascist, corruption is an artifact of state. It simply happens when you have people who know, right? They have better information. because they know what we're going to be building next week. So they know what's going to be valuable. So, and from there it trickles on down.
Yep.
Right? But we are no longer the not corrupt country we once were.
And that was a while ago.
Yeah.
All right, climate weirding.
So, turns out Hurricane Ian not only ravaged the land, it ravaged the ocean out to a distance of about 30 miles. So,
Interesting.
yeah. So researchers have now been back out into the ocean and studying marine life in the Gulf of Mexico following. What they've seen is it has destroyed artificial reefs as far away as 30 miles. They now have a red tide. It's where there used to be complete ecosystems. Now there are only fish that were able to return after running away. So anyway, that's 13.8 billion a year for Florida that may very well be gone.
It's fine.
Again, it's another example of, right, that as climate changes, you're going to get impacts that you probably didn't think of, right?
Yeah.
You hear hurricane and you think, oh, well, we're going to get tidal surge and we're going to get high winds and we're...
Well, does that mean the other hurricanes went through and did similar? Or is
Probably.
this... Okay. Because, yeah, this is the first time I can ever remember hearing that, right, a hurricane had done something, because we usually don't check the ocean.
Well, not everywhere has artificial reefs and so forth. So, anyway, what the hell? Just keep fucking up.
All right, so let's get into the meat of tonight's show. Okay,
All right.
this is a big thing. Okay, so I've done like lots of deep dives and such, but this was the first time I was able to like actually reach out to my own source to check this story for, you know, what is really going on here?
Right.
Like, what is this thing? So we've talked about this many times on this show, and it pisses me off every time we have to have this discussion, but we really keep having to have it. So this is our dumbass of the day, all right? And would you like to start us off and just explain what the
So
scenario
this New Hampshire
is?
politician named Bulldog has now tripled down on his statements that schools are allowing students to be animals, which has been called false by the Pinkerton Academy, which he challenged by name. He hasn't seen it with his own eyes. He's, quote, repeating things he heard. So he's just a backfence gossip. And again, this is one of the people, you look at the photograph of him, there's nothing home. This is as dull and empty a person as Marjorie Taylor Greene.
This one?
That's the one. It's the kind of person you look at and
The
go,
one
"Get me out of
the
the
one
room."
that's watching the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders going, whoa.
It's what money has
me.
always wanted out of its chosen elected representatives.
All right, so
No, they do what they're told really well.
let me just say, Republican Senate candidate for New Hampshire, his name is Don Bolduc. Apart from having a horrible name and also some really wild ideas of what's going on in New Hampshire schools, he, you know, Boomer just explained, I wrote this based on something different. So this worked out differently in my head than in my notes, or in reality rather than in my notes. So anyway, I have an inside connection to a senior student at Pinkerton Academy. Because as you all know, I did used to live in New Hampshire many years ago and grew up there. So I still have friends there, and one of my friend's kids is actually in, several of their kids are in Pinkerton Academy and have been to Pinkerton Academy. So I know this school and I know the students very, very well.
Cool.
So I was all over this as soon as Asshole shared this headline, and he knew I was going to go crazy over this. He was giggling to himself. knowing that I was going to just totally go above and beyond. So I got in contact with my friend, and she let me speak to her children, and I was able to, ask them about, the school and, have you heard this, thing about litter boxes and that sort of thing. And they categorically were like, never happened, not even as a joke. If anything, the only thing about the bathrooms is some of them are not great, and apparently kids there like to fuck in them, but other than that, no litter boxes.
So standard high school shit.
Pretty much, yeah, that was my thing. Is I was like, definitely no litter boxes, definitely no litter boxes. So, this was a situation in which I, as a New Hampshireite, born and raised, can categorically tell you with factual proof and evidence of real live people with real live children that for realsies go to that school right now, and knowing children that went to that school as many as 10 years ago and more, that this has never been a thing and never will be a thing, and that this man is a lying sack of shit just like all the other ones. But the reason why I was so excited about this is because this isn't something that I have to rely on other people reporting and other people, whatever. Right. I was able to do this investigation completely of my own merit and with my own trusted sources. So, no, there are no litter boxes in New Hampshire schools. And again, I was raised in New Hampshire and I went to New Hampshire schools. And I promise you, no litter boxes.
Well, and it's the kind of thing like, I think I've said on the show before, if I were in high school right now, my friends and I would be putting litter boxes in bathrooms, right?
Well, and I asked
we would
about
think that was funny.
I asked about that.
Well, the thing is, if you did that,
Yeah.
everybody in the school would know in an hour, right? Because there's no way anyone would be silent about it. They'd be laughing their guts out.
Well, that's the thing, and I asked about it, and these kids, they said, we wouldn't even do it as a joke because it's not.
Yeah,
it's
they
not
are more
funny.
media savvy than we expect.
Yeah, well, they're
They grew up in this.
And they don't want to encourage.
They knew that
Do you know
America-
what I mean?
50 years younger than I am.
And that America could never understand satire, but it's now actually killing people.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
The environment.
No, I have the same impulse of like,
My
I
high
absolutely
school
would.
principal would have laughed.
Yes,
So,
your America kind of functioned
yeah.
for a very narrow cross section of Americans, but
But it was interesting to me to know that, the kids don't even think the idea of it's funny because they understand the ramifications of this sort of thing to an extent that they wouldn't even be willing to consider it as a joke. Because I said, would you go in and put a litter box in the, for senior prank or something like that? No, categorically, no, I wouldn't even consider it.
Yep.
So it just goes to show that that these kids are being affected by this the same, even more so than, at that age, I never would have even thought that it would become an incident like that, like what you see nowadays.
Wow.
I wouldn't even have thought twice about it.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't have had the false news echo chamber that is OAN and
an American judiciary
Oh.
tooling up to declare gay marriage no longer valid.
yeah.
Right.
no.
The downside of the Dobbs ruling is there is no precedent that now. What weight do we think any of them carry?
Right. So again,
Ask for whom the bell tolls.
we've reported a lot on these litter boxes being reported in schools. The fact that he specifically, called out a New Hampshire school, and a New Hampshire school that, like I said, I know and have friends who have children that go there, it made it so much easier for me to be able to make these phone calls and confirm that once a fucking again, there is absolutely not even a shred of whatever. And the fact that this guy says, oh, I heard from students. No, you did not, sir. And I know that for a fact because I just spoke to those same fucking students. And none of them are saying that. And all of them are offended by this. The school itself is offended by this. And as Asshole said, this is not the type of school that is open to.
Oh yeah, no, it's your standard
things.
segregation academy.
Yeah, that's all.
Or whatever we're supposed to call those now. But
This is a public school that likes to pretend it's a private school, and it's Pinkerton's a big fucked up mess. I will say that much. But aside from that, they definitely would not allow litter boxes. They are not that type of school. Okay?
I think Pinkerton Academy may have a cause of action against this idiot.
yeah. The nice thing about having a $14,000 a year tuition is they'll at least be able to show some damages.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's just ridiculous, and it really did tickle me. It tickled me when I heard this. I was like, Risen gets to fucking bash some heads in tonight.
Alrighty.
Very excited. All right. So I hope y'all enjoyed our special report, my very first, very own personal investigation. God, you have no idea how excited this made me. All right. So please, Baldrick, whatever your fucking stupid name is, keep it up. Keep telling the lies so I can keep fucking talking to people who know what's going on. It'll make me very happy. Keep it up. Keep it up. Love you. All right. So we love you all. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, heart, follow, reviews.
Smash that like button on YouTube.
Go to BoomerRexTonight, no space on Facebook for fun memes and a link to our Patreon. Give us $1. You can find us on YouTube as BoomerX, or check your favorite podcasting service for BoomerRexTonight. We can be found on over a dozen different platforms, including Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Samsung Podcasts. Hit us up on Twitter at BRexTonight. And if you Google BoomerRexTonight, no spaces, all links will lead you to us. See you back here for more Eye of Argon tomorrow night.
Good night, y'all.
Bye.